Hello traders, good afternoon. Hope you're all enjoying your weekend. This is next week's outlook for the dollar pairs, silver and gold. So let's continue with what we said last week. For the euro, we're in this corrective cycle that met its minimum requirements, which means a bearish acceleration continuation is possible, although I find it less likely to happen from the current levels. What I mean by that is that the way I look at this corrective structure, we have the first push higher, followed by a corrective leg lower, and now we're making this more pronounced corrective wave higher once again, which I expect is going to test the 119 level. It's taken its sweet time, and of course there's a potential that this was it, and now we continue lower. However, I expect that not to be the case because of the way the current price action is unfolding. What I mean by that, the move lower from this high doesn't look impulsive to me at all. I think we're just making a bigger corrective structure here for that push higher, meaning that I'm not looking for sells. There's no sell setup anyway. The sell setup happened earlier last week. It was successful, and we're still in it. And by just mentioning, we'll see how that goes. Right now, I like to see price stay above this level here, because if we break below, it's most likely going to be even more complex. And what I'm looking for in the beginning of next week is some kind of a reversal sign, corrective structure, and then the buy towards the 119, which of course might be very choppy and show many overlaps as well, because that's what we see in this entire structure. So I'm going to play the 50-minute and the 1-hour time frame. I have no sell setup right now. It's a really if-then scenario. So be patient. And let's see whether we're going to see that bullish reversal. And then I'm targeting this level here, the 117.90 first, followed by a break of this high here around the 118.50, eventually leading towards the 119. Pound dollar, well, we already said this structure can extend a little longer, but the pound dollar actually paints a clear picture. This is going to reverse bullish, which tells me that the euro dollar most likely is going to do the same, which explains that I have to be a little patient with the euro dollar. I just expect it to be a more pronounced corrective structure at the moment. Right now, I see this here as a three-wave move lower. It can definitely test these lows, would be ideal if it does. And then I'm looking for the push higher once again. My first target, once this starts reverse bullish, is a test of this high here, but probably even higher. So let me put in a horizontal line to highlight what I'm looking for. Let's say the 134.70-ish. And then you look for higher levels, of course. You need to manage it accordingly. But ideally, we test this low here prior to the bullish reversal. And then we have a high probability buy scenario in terms of the pattern I'm seeing at the moment. Dollar yen is taking its sweet time. Remember last week we said we have to look for continuation higher. We had a first push higher, correction, and then the third leg higher. Perfect trade, easy, clean trade for a 3-to-1 risk reward. And now we reverse bullish, bearish once again. So let me highlight what I'm looking for. I'm basically looking for the first leg lower, this one here, corrective leg higher, and another leg lower. That's the minimum what I'm looking for right now. So the question is this three-wave pattern complete? And are we going to make new lows here? Well, if that's the case, we're going to see some flag formations on lower time frames, which means you can trade the bearish continuation. The more complex scenario is that we see something like this. This is going to be the bigger a B, a C, and then the drop lower. But I don't think this is over yet for an acceleration higher. So if we zoom in, let's see whether we get some nice flag formation here. Some dollar correlation, which means the dollar is going to weaken across the board. And then you look for the sell. The Australian dollar, US dollar, that's actually very comparable to the euro dollar, and also pretty clear picture because it's a little bit ahead of the curve already. Keep in mind what I said lately. Use one of those pairs in your advantage. I believe last time we used the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. That worked perfect. Did exactly what we hoped it did. It was the leading indicator for the other dollar pairs. So use it in your advantage. Right now, I consider this to be the leading indicator as well. We push higher, push lower, and now we make a bigger ABC for a move like that. The difference is that the Aussie dollar already made this attempt higher, and that might indicate that if that's going to consolidate, that could mean that the euro is going to move lower and the Aussie dollar sideways, and then you want to look for that move. So let's have a look at the 1 hour time frame. I do not see the minimum requirements here, but because this can easily be a sharp 3-wave pattern, and then a little extend higher. So you have to be careful, which means see whether we make some kind of consolidation here. If that happens, you trade that move higher. And then let's go back to the 4 hour time frame to set some targets. This one here, of course, the 74, 80, 50, so to speak. This is the first target, the 74, 64. But I do not just anticipate a continuation of this move by means of this. I think we're going to do this one and make a continuation of this move on the left in the middle. So also look for some dollar weakness within this corrective structure. We don't expect any home runs in this market right now. New Zealand dollar, same thing. And as well, the same thing as the rest. You also have to keep in mind, that's the risk. That's why it's an if-then. You need to see the trade present itself, because you don't want to get stuck in a contracting pattern, something like that. Which means that, for example, this was the ABC here. Let me write it down. This is the risk when buying, so you need a setup. Very simple. You always need a setup, but this is to emphasize why you definitely need a setup. Because if this is the case, then the New Zealand dollar actually is going to accelerate lower. Once again, that's the potential for all dollar pairs. It's just a probability game. It's not the highest probability, but it's a probability, so don't ignore it. But the highest probability is still some dollar weakness, which means if you see a buy setup, you should take it and try to keep it a little longer, especially at these low levels, and then see whether we can test the 68.50-ish level. Take out this high here. 1 hour time frame might help us a little bit. This is also showing why you need to wait for the Aussie dollar. You see, the spike high itself doesn't mean nothing. You need to see some consolidation here. Let me go back real quick to the Aussie dollar. You see, you don't want this to drop and make a new low. At least you don't want to see that if you're long, of course. So New Zealand dollar already seems a little further down the process. If you go to the 4 hour time frame, this is another thing I'm looking for. Keep in mind what we saw in the euro dollar. This is a big A, B, and a C, and then the push higher. This also means that if you see price dropping and take out the previous low, and then I refer to this low, that doesn't mean this is over yet. I honestly believe that this is only the beginning. So this could take out the low in an expanded formation, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to be needed before anything else. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Once again, it's a probability game, but that's how I look at it right now, which means that, in my opinion, the buys have more potential than the sells. But mentioned closely regardless. Dollar CAD, I warned you, yes, last week. This is going to trail lower towards this level, the 129.30-ish. It's boring. It's just what it is. Yeah, you have to keep selling it. We had a good sell setup at the end of last week. This was a complete mess here. But that's why I want it. There's too much downside pressure here. And if you might just look at structure and divergence, you will all be in the buy, only to see this extend and extend till we reach the target, and then the buy will actually happen. So, yeah, I just keep my sells, my shorts, and see whether we finally going to test this level, and then it's ready to reverse bullish. But the Canadian dollar has a little bit of different dynamic at the moment, so it's not correlating as the other ones. But for me, I need to see this push, set my alarm, and then I will look for a potential reversal or whatever is going to happen. Dollar Swiss, I think did pretty well too. We already said you're looking for this move, A, B, and a C lower. Ideally, we take out this low with 97.87. But of course, we can have a contracting pattern too. But keep in mind what I said about the euro, the pound, the yen, the Aussie, and New Zealand. This most likely is going to move a little bit in the same harmony. And I see this like this is a 1, a 2, and a 3 lower. But we can break out this pattern. It doesn't mean nothing. We just make a smaller 1, 2, 3 pattern and then drop lower before we do anything else. I really hope that's going to be the case, because this is going to be a phenomenal buy. This one is pretty clear. We really are preparing ourselves for continuation of this yellow box on the left. So therefore, it is what it is, but it would be ideal to see this make a more significant correction before that happens. And it would not surprise me if that happens in September, telling us that we have another month of sideways corrections of the 4-hour time frames. Silver, taking its sweet time, don't worry about it. It's going to make a new low, pick up the bottom once again and buy it. I think this might happen. I think that's a very likely scenario. And then we see that move. The reason I say that is, first of all, we have a corrective structure here. It's unlikely that that's the bottom formation for an acceleration high. Of course, it's probability, but if you look at gold, this is what we see. This is definitely setting up for something like this. I think we're going to test these highs of this level here. Let me zoom in to see which levels I'm talking about. I think we're going to see the 1236 being tested in the beginning of next week. Let's go to the daily. Keep in mind that we might make a move like this and then drop once again. But I would not suggest selling gold right now. I think this is very likely. Something like this, and then a push lower again. Maybe we test this low, I don't know. We'll see. But definitely put some pending buys below the recent low for silver. If you're long already, well, you can keep it just in case it takes off to the upside. But keep in mind, if you're an intraday trader, right now, manage it like this is the formation. Only towards 1571, 1580, something like that, before you push low once again, and then the bullish reversal. All right, that's it for me for this week. I'm about to launch a new platform where you can not just follow my trades and learn from my IDs, but also simply copy my trades. Well, if you're interested, then let me know. You can reach out to me by means of a message or whatever, and I'll put you on the list. That's it for me. Safe trades, and if you need anything, don't hesitate to put a comment down here. Feel free to like and share the video as well. Bye-bye.